Jayson Tatum just said something that is about to change the Boston Celtics' future forever. Not only is he a top 5 player in the league, a top 5 MVP candidate, he wants to push it even further, and he said he wants to make an all-defensive team. This would put Jayson Tatum in the conversation for best basketball player in the world, and it would probably make the Boston Celtics championship favorites. I'm here to break down what he said and the reality of him making an all-defensive team on this edition of Celtics Digest. Jayson Tatum might be the best player in the NBA this year if he's able to put everything together. But before we get into this, a quick reminder that 95% of you guys watching this video are not subscribed. And if you like this style of video, this style of Celtics news, daily Celtics news, hit the subscribe button. You won't regret it. In a recent interview, Jayson Tatum was saying that, he is one of the voices in the locker room. He wants to make sure his voice is heard, and he does it in his own way. It's not his personality to be jumping up and down and screaming, but he knows when he says something, people will listen. It's for the betterment of the team. And at the final part of this interview, he says, quote, "I want to make an all-defensive team. That's what I want." And it's not that ridiculous. If you guys have been watching the Boston Celtics, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have been, you'll know that, yeah, Jaylen Brown's a great defender, but Jayson Tatum may be the best overall defender on the team. He's often tasked with guarding the other team's best wings while also being your top scorer. Yes, Jaylen Brown can help him, and with Marcus Smart gone, Derrick White is solid too, but Jayson Tatum is oftentimes that defensive focal point. He has shown elite defensive awareness, elite on-ball defense, and even ability to guard in the post. Overall in the NBA, he is straight up one of the best defenders. So making an all-defensive team is really not out of the realm of possibility, especially when you look at who made the team just last year. We take a look at the voting for last year, and we're looking at the forward spot, because that's where Jayson Tatum is contending with, right? Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, those are two elite defenders, but I don't think it's crazy to say that Jayson Tatum could step up his game this year and make it over one of them, especially after seeing, while Jaren Jackson is quite good for sure, this Team USA showing this summer shows that, maybe he's not always at 100% defensively. 0 blocks in his last 3 games for Team USA, right? He's good. Yeah, he won Defensive Player of the Year. Could Jayson Tatum make the first team over him? Maybe. I don't think it's that crazy, but especially when we look at the second team where we see Boston Celtic Derrick White, but look at the other forwards, Draymond Green and OG Anunoby. Now, while OG Anunoby led the NBA in steals, and of course Draymond Green has one of the best defensive reputations in the league and definitely is still one of the top defenders, I don't think it's crazy for Jayson Tatum to at least make it over one of them. Boston is going to be one of the top championship contenders, and Jayson Tatum will probably be looked at as the best defender on one of the title favorite teams. He's going to put up solid steal and block numbers like he kind of always does, but the advanced metrics are really what's going to put him over the top. And also, again, OG Anunoby has been on a mediocre Raptors team. Of course, he was on the championship team, but these last few years, they just haven't been that great. And yeah, great, he leads the NBA in steals, but Jayson Tatum's defensive impact is right up there with the likes of them. And if Boston continues to be a #1 seed, I don't see why he can't make it. I mean, we look at the numbers he puts up as well. 1.1 steals, 0.7 blocks. Now, those don't jump off the page, but that's not where Jayson Tatum thrives defensively. Jayson Tatum thrives in being able to be versatile, guarding the 1 through 5 if he needs to, having that quickness, that agility, and the defensive awareness to be in the right places at the right times, while just making those right defensive decisions that lead to great offensive possessions for the team. And if Jayson Tatum is able to do this, again, he is a top 5 MVP betting favorite going into this year. He was up there in the voting last year. There's already conversation that how many players in the NBA are really, would you consider, better than Jayson Tatum right now? Maybe just a few, right? And if Jayson Tatum can lock in an all-defense level season, working his way up to Defensive Player of the Year, I can see a world where Jayson Tatum is seriously in that conversation for best in the world. And his underlying metrics show that not only is he elite offensively, like we just saw, he was 6th in the NBA in scoring. The Celtics had 2 guys in the top 10 with Tatum and Brown. Tatum averaging over 30 a game, 8 boards. I'm going to flash that right back up again. 30 points, 9 boards, 5 assists with elite defense on 47 from the field, 35 from 3. He said he wants to work on his 3-point shot as well. Things are only going to get better and better for the young superstar. And let's take a look at some of the underlying metrics. Here are the top defensive rating players in the NBA last year. Defensive rating essentially means how many points the opposing team scores when you are on the court per 100 possessions. The lower number, the better, obviously, because that would be the fewer points your opponent scores. Jaren Jackson Jr. leading the way. No surprise from the Defensive Player of the Year. But you can see Jayson Tatum is right here in the top 15. One of only 14 players in the entire league to have a defensive rating of below 110. And look at the guys above him there. Yeah, well, Jokic and Vucevic certainly aren't amazing defenders, and this stat isn't great on its own. You need to use it in combination with both the eye test and other defensive metrics, right, where Jokic and Vucevic will definitely fall down when it comes to rim protection and one-on-one defense. Tatum doesn't fall down in that aspect. You can jump him right up with the likes of, Brook Lopez, Rudy Gobert, Alex Caruso, Claxton, Mobley. Tatum is right in that conversation, and a lot of people don't realize this. But not only is he in the top for defensive rating, if we look at defensive win shares, which combines a bunch of defensive metrics against some on-off numbers to show which players contribute the most wins to their team defensively, Jayson Tatum is right up at the top with Nikola Vucevic, who, again, a bit of an underrated defender, definitely not the best rim protector or anything, but he was that anchor of defense in Chicago. But Evan Mobley, widely considered one of the best defending big men in the league, and again, you look Nick Claxton, Jared Allen, Joel Embiid, Brook Lopez, and we also see Jaylen Brown down there as well. So Jayson Tatum is at the top of most of the defensive metrics. He scores 30 points a game. He has become a great playmaker, a guy who can dish the ball when he's in double team, something he really struggled with just a couple years ago, especially in the playoffs. Every single year, Jayson Tatum adds an extra element to his game. Every single year, he improves on something. And he has become an elite defender who is one of the best scorers in the world, and he's not done yet. If he can become an all-defensive team member, what's the next step? Well, the next step, logically, is Defensive Player of the Year. We're talking about a Kawhi Leonard level season, where Kawhi was able to be one of the most efficient and top scorers in the league, while also being Defensive Player of the Year, right? They didn't come at the exact same time, but we've seen Kawhi, right? He's one of the only guys in the league that you can truly say his offensive versatility and efficiency is matched by his defensive IQ, his defensive physicality, his ability to guard every single position on the floor. He's a multiple-time D-point winner. And honestly, if he's had healthy seasons, he would have some MVPs. He already has some final MVPs under his belt as well. And Jayson Tatum can be in that conversation, but score more points per game. I don't see a reason why Jayson Tatum can't be the next, megastar in Boston, right? We've seen some megastars come to Boston. KG winning Defensive Player of the Year, a little bit after his scoring prime for sure. But we're talking about like Larry Bird levels of greatness potentially for Jayson Tatum. Now, maybe I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, right? Because Larry Bird's a top 10 player all time. Is it possible Tatum goes down as one of those? He definitely needs some MVPs and some titles to put his name up in that conversation. However, when we're talking about just general all-around talent, his ability to pass has gotten better every single season. His ability to score has gotten better every single season. His three-point shot is improving and improving. While the percentage maybe isn't going up year over year, the versatility and the way he's able to get his three-point shots has improved every single year. And that's one thing, again, he said he wants to work on this year. His off-the-dribble threes were not at a great percentage last year, but he said, hey, I'm working on that this offseason. We've seen him working on things like that with Jaylen Brown. His finishing at the rim is quite good. And again, his defense is only improving as the days and the years go by. Jayson Tatum is one of those few players in the NBA where every single year you can see that significant improvement. What might have been a weakness earlier in his career turns into a strength just a couple years down the road, and he is still young. He still has 5, 6, 7, 8 years left of his prime, and I don't see a world where he starts slowing down. The truth is, Jayson Tatum, when he puts his mind to something, he is able to achieve it. He is able to get an MVP. He is able to get a Defensive Player of the Year and an all-defensive team. And I'm excited to see what him and Jaylen Brown can do this year. And while they admitted they clashed when they first started in the NBA with the Boston Celtics together, they've grown together. This offseason, they've been working out together. They are both dedicated to becoming Boston Celtics legends. They're dedicated to bringing a championship to Boston. And I see a world where both of these guys are all defensive team guys. Both of these guys are up there in MVP voting. And I see a world where Jayson Tatum might just work his way up to being considered the best player in the world. That'll do it for this news edition of Celtics Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this and daily Boston Celtics news updates. This update was crazy. Had to bring it to you guys. Really appreciate all the support you've been showing on the videos. My name has been Josh Gosse. I'll catch you in the next one.